There is a day in every life that quietly divides time into before and after. It doesn't announce itself with thunder or warning. It arrives with a phone call, a knock at the door. A moment so ordinary that it feels unreal. 1 second, life is familiar. The next, everything is changed forever. When loss enters our lives, it doesn't ask if we are ready. It simply comes, and nothing is the same again. Grief is not just sadness. It is shock, confusion, longing, anger, guilt, and love that suddenly has nowhere to go. It can feel like the world keeps moving while you are frozen in place. People around you may return to their routines, but you are left trying to figure out how to breathe in a life that no longer looks the way it did yesterday, even simple things morning light. A favorite song, an empty chair can suddenly feel overwhelming. In the early days of grief, survival is an achievement. Getting out of bed, eating a meal, or answering a message may feel like climbing a mountain, and that is okay. Grief does not follow a schedule, and it does not move in a straight line. Some days you may feel almost normal, and then a single memory can pull you right back into the pain. This does not mean you are failing. It means you are human. One of the hardest parts of grief is accepting that there is no going back. The person you lost is gone, and the version of you who existed before the loss is gone too. This truth hurts deeply, but within it lies an important understanding. You are not meant to return to who you were. You are meant to learn how to carry love and loss together. Healing is not about forgetting. It is about learning how to live with the absence. Coping with grief begins with allowing yourself to feel it, not pushing it away, not rushing it, not comparing your pain to anyone else's. Tears are not weakness. Silence is not failure. Taking your time is not selfish. Grief demands to be felt, and when it is honored instead of avoided, it slowly begins to soften. You may find comfort in talking about the person you lost, or you may prefer quiet reflection. You may feel close to them in memories, dreams, or familiar places. All of this is part of the process. Love does not end when a life does. It changes form, but it remains. There will come a time, often when you least expect it, when you laugh without guilt, when joy visits you again. This does not mean you have stopped grieving. It means your heart is learning how to hold both pain and hope. Life after loss is different, but different does not always mean empty. The day everything changed forever may have broken your heart, but it did not end your story. With patience, compassion for yourself, and the courage to keep going, you will find meaning again. Not the same meaning as before, but a deeper one shaped by love, remembrance, and the quiet strength you never knew you had. There is a moment in life that quietly rewrites everything. Even though the world around you may look exactly the same, it is the moment when time splits into two parts, before the loss and after it. Before, life feels predictable, familiar, and safe in its routines. After, even the simplest things feel uncertain. The future you imagined no longer exists in the same way, and the past suddenly feels painfully close. This moment often arrives without warning, leaving you stunned, unable to fully understand what has happened. At first, the mind struggles to accept the reality of the loss. You may replay the moment again and again, wishing for a different ending, hoping it was all a misunderstanding. Shock acts like a protective shield, numbing the pain just enough to help you survive those early hours and days. During this time, emotions can feel confusing and even contradictory. One moment you may feel nothing at all, and the next you may feel overwhelmed by waves of sorrow, anger, or fear. This emotional chaos is a natural response to something that has shaken the foundation of your life. As the reality slowly settles in, you begin to notice how deeply this moment has changed you. Places, routines, and conversations that once felt normal now carry a heavy weight. You may catch yourself reaching for your phone to call the person you lost, only to remember they are no longer there. These small realizations can hurt just as much as the initial loss because they remind you that this new reality is permanent. Life no longer flows automatically. Every step forward requires effort and intention. The hardest part of this turning point is understanding that you cannot return to who you were before. The loss has reshaped your heart and your perspective. You may feel pressure from others, or even from yourself, to move on and return to normal, but normal no longer exists in the same way. Instead, you are learning how to live in a world forever marked by absence. This does not mean life is over. It means it will be different. Over time, this dividing moment becomes a place of transformation, while it may always carry pain. It also reveals a strength you never knew you possessed. The person you become after loss is shaped by love, resilience, and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. The day life split into before and after did not destroy you, it changed you. And within that change lies the beginning of healing. Grief is often described as sadness, but that word barely touches the surface of what it truly feels like. Grief is a complex, layered experience that affects the mind, the body, and the soul all at once. It can feel like carrying a heavy weight inside your chest, one that makes breathing harder and thoughts slower. At times, it feels sharp and overwhelming. And at other times it feels dull and exhausting. Many people are surprised by how unpredictable it is, arriving suddenly even when you think you are managing well. One of the most confusing aspects of grief is how many emotions exist within it. You may feel deep sorrow and intense longing, but also anger, guilt, fear, or even relief. These emotions can clash, making you feel ashamed or broken for experiencing them. You might wonder why you feel angry at the person you lost, or why you feel numb when you think you should be crying. The truth is, grief has no single shape. Every emotion that appears is part of the heart trying to make sense of loss. Grief also affects the body in ways people rarely talk about. It can cause fatigue, headaches, changes in appetite, trouble sleeping, or a constant sense of heaviness. Your body is reacting to emotional pain as if it were physical injury. This can make daily life feel overwhelming, even when you are doing very little. You may feel frustrated with yourself for being tired or unfocused, but these responses are not weakness. They are signs that your entire being is processing something profound. Another painful part of grief is isolation. Even when surrounded by people, you may feel deeply alone, as if no one truly understands what you are experiencing. Others may offer kind words, but grief can make those words feel distant or hollow. This sense of loneliness can be intensified by the pressure to appear strong or okay, when inside you feel anything but that. Grief often asks for patience and compassion, especially toward yourself. Understanding grief means accepting that it does not move in a straight line. Healing is not measured by days or weeks, and there is no finish line where grief disappears. Instead, it slowly changes form. The pain may soften, but the love remains. When you allow yourself to understand grief rather than fight it, you begin to realize that grief is not just about loss, it is about love. And learning how to carry that love forward in a changed world, allowing pain without rushing. Healing is one of the most difficult lessons grief teaches us. In a world that values speed, productivity, and quick recovery, there is often an unspoken pressure to be okay as soon as possible. People may encourage you to stay strong, think positively, or move forward, even when your heart feels shattered. While these words are often meant with kindness, they can make you feel as though your pain is something to fix or hide. True healing, however, does not begin by rushing past the pain. It begins by allowing it to exist. Pain demands to be felt. When loss enters your life, it leaves behind emotions that cannot be neatly organized or controlled. Trying to suppress grief may seem easier in the short term, But unexpressed pain often finds other ways to surface through exhaustion, irritability, anxiety, or physical discomfort. Allowing yourself to feel the pain does not mean you are giving up or becoming consumed by it. It means you are acknowledging what has happened and honoring the depth of your love and loss. Healing is not a race, and it does not follow a fixed timeline. Some days you may feel lighter, almost hopeful, and then without warning, the heaviness returns. This can be discouraging, making you wonder if you are moving backward, in reality. This is how healing often works. It moves in waves, not straight lines. Each wave carries emotion, memory, and meaning, and each one slowly teaches you how to survive what once felt unbearable. Giving yourself permission to heal at your own pace is an act of self-compassion. It means resting when you are tired, crying when you need to, and stepping back when the world feels too loud. It also means letting go of comparisons. No two people grieve the same way, and measuring your progress against someone else's journey only adds unnecessary pain. Your experience is valid simply because it is yours over time. Allowing pain instead of fighting it creates space for gentle change. The pain may never fully disappear, but it begins to soften, becoming easier to carry. Moments of peace slowly return, and joy no longer feels like a betrayal of the past. By not rushing healing, you learn that grief is not something to overcome, but something to live alongside. And in that patient acceptance, healing unfolds naturally, in its own quiet and deeply personal way, learning to live with loss rather than trying to erase it is one of the most profound shifts grief asks of us. In the beginning, there is often a desperate wish for the pain to disappear completely, for life to return to the way it was before everything changed. This desire is natural because the absence hurts deeply. But over time, it becomes clear that loss is not something that can be removed without also removing the love that created the pain in the first place. Loss becomes part of your story, woven into who you are and how you see the world. You may notice that memories once filled only with warmth now carry a sharp ache alongside them. At first, this can make you avoid thinking about the person you lost because remembering feels too painful. Yet those memories also hold connection, meaning, and love. Allowing them to exist, even when they hurt, is a step toward acceptance. You are not clinging to the past, you are honoring it. Living with loss means acknowledging that absence will always be present in some form. Certain dates, places, or moments may always feel heavier. An empty seat, an unshared celebration, or a familiar voice missing from the room can quietly remind you of what is gone. Instead of fighting these reminders, you begin to make space for them. You learn that feeling sadness does not mean you are weak or stuck. It means you are remembering someone who mattered. As time passes, the relationship with the person you lost begins to change. While they may no longer be physically present, their influence remains. You may carry their values, their words, or their love into your decisions and daily life. In this way, loss does not erase connection, it transforms it. Love continues, just in a different form. Learning to live with loss also means allowing yourself to live fully again. This can bring guilt at first, as if happiness is a betrayal of what was lost. But joy and grief are not opposites, they can exist together. When you stop trying to erase the loss, you discover that your heart can expand to hold both pain and gratitude. Life may never be the same, but it can still be meaningful, rich, and deeply connected to the love that will always remain. Finding strength, hope, and meaning again often feels impossible in the aftermath of deep loss. In the early stages of grief, the future can appear empty, stripped of purpose and direction. The idea that life could ever feel meaningful again may seem unrealistic or even offensive. When pain is fresh, hope feels distant, and strength feels like something other people talk about, not something you possess. yet slowly and quietly. These qualities begin to re-emerge in ways you may not immediately recognize. Strength after loss does not look like bravery or constant positivity. It looks like getting through a day you thought you couldn't survive. It looks like choosing to keep going even when you feel exhausted and broken. Each small act, waking up, caring for yourself, reaching out to someone, or simply enduring another moment becomes evidence of a resilience you didn't know you had. This strength is not loud or dramatic. It is steady, patient, and deeply human. Hope also returns in subtle forms. At first, it may not be hope for happiness, but hope for relief, rest, or understanding. You may begin to notice brief moments when the pain eases, even if only slightly, a kind conversation, a peaceful walk, or a memory that brings warmth instead of only sorrow can signal that your heart is slowly learning to breathe again. Hope grows quietly, often without permission, reminding you that pain does not have the final word. Meaning, too, begins to take shape in unexpected ways. Loss can deepen your understanding of love, compassion, and what truly matters. You may find yourself more present, more empathetic, or more aware of life's fragility and beauty. Some people find meaning in honoring the person they lost by living in ways that reflect their values, by helping others, or by simply carrying their memory with intention. Meaning does not replace what was lost, but it gives the loss a place within a larger story. Over time, you begin to realize that strength, hope, and meaning are not things you must search for aggressively. They grow naturally as you continue to live, feel, and heal at your own pace. The pain may remain, but it no longer defines every moment. Life opens again, not as it once was, but as something new shaped by love, loss, and the quiet courage to keep moving forward.